Hi, y'all. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. Today, we are going to read from Acts 20. Now, I want you to understand the reason why I'm targeting Acts right now is to really help you understand what has happened in our faith, okay? So, when I say our faith, I don't mean modern day Christianity, I don't mean Muslim, I don't mean Jewish, I don't mean any of those things. I mean the faith of the entire Bible, okay? So my life rests on understanding, and my children's life and their children's life and all of my 1,000 up into 1,000 generations life rest on the foundation of understanding and applying the entire Bible to my life in the way that it is written. And it's the last part of that, what I just said, it is written, is the part that is going to throw a lot of people off because there are so many sheep, wolves wrapped in sheep clothing. And so, because everybody always quotes Paul, and I did too, the work of Paul, I want to examine some of the last few words that he gave the people that were following the Most High through the blood of Yeshua, i.e., Jesus. Now, here's the thing that I need you to understand. If you don't dedicate your life to studying and understanding the ways and the laws in which God has commanded you to live, you will spend the rest of your life chasing the rabbit's tail. You will stay going in circles and circles and circles, not fully understanding what it is that God has you to do. God has a way for us to live our lives. And unfortunately, in modern day Christianity, we have been taught, and I can only say this because this is what I come from. This is the bondage that God has relieved me from, is praying my will to be done. I'm going to tell you guys a story. And I'm going to keep it like very tight. But I remember praying about a thing that I wanted. And this thing that I wanted was like, I really wanted it because I thought it would make me who I wanted to be. It made me cool and stuff like that. So I got the thing. I remember asking somebody like, how did you get this thing? And they were like, I just prayed for it and then it came to me. And I was like, okay, I serve the same God, so let's just pray for it and let's just see what happened. Long story short, when I got that thing, number one, it took so much of my money. Like it literally took every dollar that I had. It was insane to keep that thing. And then that very thing I saw God telling me to let go and release. And that very thing God came and took. And this is why I am telling you guys today, and we're going to read the word. The most dangerous thing in this society, especially with any religion outside of a biblical religion, a biblical, not even religion, because the Bible doesn't use the word religion, it uses the word faith. Okay? Outside of a biblical understanding and a biblical faith will keep you in bondage. And we do not want you, you cannot afford to be in bondage. Because the way the world is trending, and when God's judgment is released, He is going to come for those that are faithful and those that have had a watered down faith because they chose not to align themselves to the Bible fully for whatever reason, what people think, how they're going to talk about you and all that good stuff because they think you're crazy and all that good stuff. All that stuff has been said about me. But one of the things that I refuse to do in this life and in the next is to lose anything that God has for me and my generations. I could care less about what anybody under the sun has to say about me. Okay? And that is because I am fully confident that God has my back. I have seen it 1,000,001 times. I am living in His fullness and His grace, by His grace alone, and through my desire to always come to Him and tell Him, I will lose everything and everyone in this world, but I dare not lose you. Okay? And so that's the kind of faith that you have to have in order for your life to be blessed. So I'm going to walk you through Acts 20 because I really want to read this to you guys because and oftentimes in modern day Christianity, we're quoted Paul, but you have to understand the life that he lived. And there's two key points that I want you to remember, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Acts 20. Through Macedonia and Greece. When the uproar had ended, Paul sent for the disciples. And I'm going to pause really quickly because a lot of us in church, we're only fed like snippets. And here's why snippets are bad. You know, when you like see something on YouTube and that person is like, oh, they give you this clickbait thing and you read it and you're like, this had nothing to do with the title. This is gross. Why would you post that on YouTube? Like, it's total clickbait. That's exactly what you're doing with your life. You do not want to live a life on clickbait. You need to read the Bible as if your life depended on it. Okay? So that's what we're doing. When the uproar had ended, Paul sent for the disciples, and after encouraging them, okay, Bible app, don't do that, said goodbye, set out for Macedonia. He traveled through the area speaking many words of encouragement to the people and finally arrived in Greece, where he stayed 3 months because some Jews had plotted against him. Just as he was about to sail for Syria, he decided to go back through Macedonia. He was accompanied by Sopater, son of Cyrus from Berea, Ashtaras and Secundus from Thessalonica, Gaius from Debir, Timothy also, Tychus and Trophimus from the province of Asia. These men went on and waited for us at Troas, but we sailed from Philippi after the festival of unleavened bread. Do you see that? I want you to understand that Paul celebrated the festival of unleavened bread. Where is that mentioned in the Bible? It's mentioned in Leviticus 23, and it's also mentioned as the laws of Moses. That's one thing we have to pay attention to. If you believe in Paul and everything that he said, you cannot believe one thing and not believe the other. All of the disciples of God, of Yeshua, were actually following the Old Testament. All right, I need that to sit in. And 5 days later, joined the others at Troas, where we stayed 7 days. Even the life of Yeshua followed the laws of Moses. Even God's son, okay, not God, but God's son followed the laws that God sent to Moses. All right, that's really important. Yeshua raised from the dead at Troas. On the first day of the week, we came to break bread. Paul spoke to the people, and because he intended to leave the next day, kept on talking until midnight. There were many lamps in the upstairs room where we were meeting. Seated in a window was a young man named Eustace, who was sinking into deep sleep as Paul talked on and on. When he was sound asleep, he fell to the ground from the story and was picked up dead. Paul went down, threw himself on the young man, and put his arms around him. Don't be alarmed, he said. He's alive. Then he went upstairs again, broke bread, and ate. After talking until daylight, he left. The people took the young man home alive and were greatly comforted. If you want to have the power of true miraculous power, you have to do what they did. Okay? Paul's farewell to the Ephesian elders. Now, I'm going to stay on that point because I might have to record a part two because I want you to give this in little bitty pieces so you can just pray about it and digest it. If you want to have God's true anointing in your life, you have to read the Bible and you have to trust it for what it is. I understand that it's more comfortable to rely on people because you can see them, you can feel them, and they mean well for you. But meaning well for you is not going to break the generational curses that you are facing. The only power that Paul had is the power of the full anointing of the Most High on his life. And that is how he was able to do the things that God called him to do. If you are wondering why you cannot do the things that God has called you to do, there is no internal peace in your life. You are missing something. You are a part of a generational curse. And if you look back, you can see all of those things. It's because you are not following the Bible as it is written. And one of the key things I want you to understand is that we have to follow the laws of Moses because that is what every disciple followed. There will be a part two, so stick with me. I'll read a part two today.